We see that on the back page of the Daily Nation, they are saying that CSs, that is the cabinet secretaries, resume. Okay, here it is. Now I can't read. CSs resume duty amid reshuffle talk. That is the cabinet secretaries who've been given leave for Christmas. Now they are returning, even as people continue to say that there could be reshuffle coming through. And of course, on the same page, you'll see that IBC is set to announce date for by-elections, but that's not my interest. My interest is in as far as matters to do with the boundaries review is concerned, and also the census that is supposed to be done by the Kenya National. Is it? Yes. Right. So when you look at the year, what do you expect? There's, first of all, this cabinet secretary's reshuffle that people are talking about, and the tensions within the Jubilee Party that Raila Odinga might have come to get a piece of the cake. What do you expect?
I've always, even though I support the handshake between the president and NASA leader Raila Odinga, but the handshake is formed on the, on something that Kenyans do not understand. If that is the case, then it gives room for speculations, for gossip, propaganda. You can only guess what is contained in the handshake, because now it's being rumored that now, because of the handshake, they want to reconstitute the cabinet, that Raila Odinga will propose some names. And to me, that is not just a in law, is that any agreement doesn't need to be necessarily written. It can be verbal. It's binding by law that this is what we agreed in this meeting. And it's being rumored that actually it's not a handshake, but it's a coalition. It's a coalition that the president and the NASA leader are going to work together even in running the government. And that means that even Raila is proposing some names to be appointed cabinet secretaries, and that's why I've always disagreed with my party leader that on this he needs to be clear, because he holds a public office, not a private office. He needs to be clear what his right hand is doing or left hand is doing. Kenyans needs to be aware. Of course, if it's a good thing for this country, there's nothing for him to fear.
And I almost called you Mheshimiwa. Maybe one day you will be.
One day, yeah.
but Prof, you've observed, I don't know how many governments in office, but I'm sure you've been observing. Yeah. And when this kind of talk is happening, do you think it's a possibility that Odinga might have a hand in changes within the cabinet? Is there any reason for the likes of Baraza to and discomfort?
You see, everything is possible, and anything is possible in politics. The president is the leader of the country. And right now, he has a focus on what he thinks he should do. He has, you know, a 4-point agenda on what he wants before, you know, as his legacy before he leaves. And to all intents and purposes, every politician now, you know, wants to do certain things and has a roadmap towards achieving those things. Now, whether having on board, you know, cabinet, you know, positions Raila Odinga's, you know, henchman is one of those, I will not tell. Because, you see, in such a situation as we are, and remembering that this is the last term of the president, you know, very many things will be talked about, some of which may not even come, you know, to happen. This cabinet reshuffle thing has been in the offing, has been, you know, in gossip for a long time. It's not the first time. Last year, you know, you remember in July, August, we had all this talk about, you know, a cabinet reshuffle looming, and this is a new year, and we are still talking about the same thing. What that tells you that there's a lot of, you know, gossip and speculation about the relationship between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. People think that perhaps the best which can come out is accommodation of his allies within government. But a lot has happened. If you look at appointments, for example, of parastatal boards and all that, I have seen some accommodation of some of the members from the opposition. You see, so perhaps they think then this will be the culmination of such a strategy. But I want to say this, that the president is a president. And I think he has a leeway. He can appoint whoever he thinks is going to help him to achieve his objectives and, you know, his vision for this country.
Okay, and back to basics so that we don't get into rumors so much. Do you think, looking at the workings of government since, I think, February of 2018, was sworn in, do you think it's necessary to have a reshuffle when you look at the performance of the cabinet secretaries that have been in office for those months?
You know, these are political positions, and it depends with how the president will look and how you are performing. And it depends with how the president will look and how you are performing, by the way. And also, you know, the problem with us Kenyans, we run away. And yet, outside there, we are talking something else. When we are, no, be honest to ourselves.
Right.
Many Kenyans have complained of many of the CSs. Let us be honest. They've complained. So it's up to the president, by the way, because these are political positions. You are in it today, and I believe when you are a CS, you are there knowing very well position. Today I'm there, tomorrow my brother will come in. And it is a Kenyan who is coming in, by the way. It is not a Tanzanian. So whether it is a former prime minister bringing, it's a Kenyan from Nyanza or from Central or from where who is coming on that position, who just needs to deliver to Kenyans. I think what we want as Kenyans is you have been given a position, deliver something to them. Go and do the work that you have promised to do. You've sworn in, you've taken a Bible, you've said you'll do this, deliver it to Kenyans. Okay. Nobody will bother to know whether you are from Sijui, this side or this side. You know, of all these things, the moment the handshake came in, we knew many things will come in, and we just have to accommodate each other. If indeed we are really spirited to have one Kenya, as we talk about it, then we have to accommodate each other. And that is why also we just need to respect each other. Respect each other's opinion. I must respect Mheshimiwa, regardless whether his opinion is right or wrong. But we have those who will believe in Mheshimiwa. We have those who will feel, Mheshimiwa, you have just said something we don't understand. The same with me.
Mheshimiwa,
you know, I have something.
You speak so moderately, but the guy on your left, I'm not sure.
I'm not speaking moderately. By the way, that is how I speak. And I say, I have to respect and I want every Kenyan to be in this government, by the way. As we move, as we go for a referendum, as we do all those things, let us be one country. Because if we decide to split, then we are really bringing chaos in everything we are planning towards that 2022. That's how we'll split our country, and we will go neck to neck like this. For what reason? For what reason?
Right, Mheshimiwa Didmas.
You know, I've always had issues with the leaders of this country in their definition of one country. What do you mean by one country? Does it mean that you don't consult certain people, then you are dividing the country? Or does it mean that when you go consulting everyone, then that is one country? In this country, we are guided by the Constitution, the rule of law. We have legal institutions that are established by the rule of law. If the president, for example, wants advice, legal advice, we have the chief legal advisor of government is the Attorney General. He cannot go and seek advice from a lawyer on the street. He must, you know, this is the kind of thing that we are talking about.
But primarily, do you think there's need for a cabinet reshuffle looking at the performance of the CSs?
I will tell you, for example, the Ministry of Agriculture, the problems of the sugar farmers, the problem of if you do not solve the problem of sugarcane farmers, the problems of maize farmers, and the problems of Galalu, somewhere we lost a lot of money, then what's your role in the office? Okay. Look at the people who are I mean, we need people who understand what Kenyans expect from them, and the people who are going to show Kenya that this is 1 year in office. This is what I've done that is aimed at improving the lives of the Kenyan people.
Right, quite it's going to be, and unfortunately we're running out of time. I just want to look at some of the feedback that you've been writing to us. Someone is saying that there's need to form proper parties, like in Britain, South Africa, America. It is so that as you grow up, you belong to a certain party. Yeah. The president now works for the citizens of Kenya, so let Jubilee parties stop their wrangles and sort themselves out, since it's not a Kenyan affair. We need to stop tribal parties and get our president from the corner of Kenya. Oh, that's wisdom. No comment. Someone says that, good morning, do you know that online requests are being done in schools, and before uploading the request, a parent pays 20,000?
Wow.
Please give us the details and specifics. We'll
Yes,
pursue that,
and send one
for you.
receipt.
Another one says that tulembo watoto wote watapata
20,000 is school fees of the whole year.
Yep. Day school. Tulembo watoto wote watapata.
Boarding. Day school is 9K.
Yeah.
Boarding.
It's a full year.
It's a whole year.
It's a full year.
Tulembo
Or a
watoto.
whole term.
Tulembo watoto wote. It's okay. Tulembo watoto wote watapata shule. Kwa nini mtoto mpaka sasa hajapata calling letter? Why? Another person says that Murathe was only relaying the voices of many who have spoken early as well as the silent. Democracy is all about elections after every specific time. For Kenya, it's 5 years before the next leaders are determined. Furthermore, Jubilee might die or in 2022. Murathe is out. Who will be next and who remains to steer the party? That's a viewer. They didn't leave their name. Someone says that there's more to Murathe's resignation that more than meets the eye. He's not an isolated case. I'm certain there are others within Jubilee who share his views. The is yet to come. The storm is yet to come, Mheshimiwa Didmas Baraza. So what should you expect in terms of all these issues, the confusion that there is, fighting corruption, a census that is coming, a boundaries review? How does the president manage all these issues very quickly?
The leader of this country, it befalls upon him to organize the country and ensure from the party level to the government level to ensure things are running and Wanjiko in Moranga and Teresia in Busia are comfortable. So he is the leader of the country. He should, it is upon him because he was elected by the Kenyans to ensure that everybody is comfortable or is geared or has hope towards working towards that. Anything out of that is desperation. And this people are seeing from what Mheshimiwa Dismas is saying about farmers, about maize farmers. We need to have people or Kenyans have hope over the system, over the leadership which they have. Okay. That hope cannot be in one day, but they must see things what. For now, we are so focused on 2022 when we are not fending for ourselves now. So I think leaders, and they are here, some of them, should work to ensure that the common man, the common mwananchi, the village, is comfortable, is getting a school, his child, is getting food, is ensuring that after having just 10 bags of maize from his small farm, he is able to sell and be able to take that, use that money to take the child to the nearest school. And that should be structured enough through government.
Finally, in December 2019, when we look back on the months that will have passed, is it a possibility that we'll have grown, started achieving the Big Four agenda in light of all this confusion and chaos?
Let me not talk of December 2019.
Yes.
Let me talk of, for now, let's give ourselves 3 to 4 months.
Right.
I think we need to have calmed down. We need to have brought sanity and at least Kenyans feeling. From 2018, Kenyans suffered in this country. The SMEs suffered in this country. If we are now starting on this note of now we are just on a hill of politics and we are not of the taxpayers who give us the money to become Mheshimiwa Elachi, Mheshimiwa Didimas and the rest, and these are the small SMEs who were really hit by contraband, by I don't know what. If we have not put that in place and now we are going on census, by the way, for me, I am so much focused on census, and I want to tell Western Province, be focused on census. Forget about every other thing. Focus first on census and the revenue shareable formula. What I want Mheshimiwa to do here is to tell us, what is this? People are fighting about the formula. What about Western, where you have the numbers?
Right.
We want the formula to support our people with resources. I think that should be the main focus. Then these other issues will come on itself. The issue of elections and everything, surely
not now.
We have to pray to God. I pray to God to see 2022, and I know at that time. And by the way, the presidency of Kenya comes in very naturally. People just, first of all, the issue of pride, I don't know, Kenyans don't love that. Kenyans just like to see something coming through, respect, a person who is so simple. So They know who will be their president.
Okay.
They know. We don't need to fight. We don't need to push to the neck. And then when you say something, you are hit so hard. And you're wondering, by the way, I'm in 2019. I have no idea even if God is keeping me to 2019. And I have only one vote. And you are hit. Right. You're wondering, no, it can't be that way. Not in our country now.
Right, Mheshimiwa Baraza will have the final word on this. And specifically, what will be your role to ensure that we have less of politics and more of development this year?
Yes.
Myself, as a member of parliament, I'm a politician. I play politics every day.
His job.
That's my job. We have separation of powers. We have the people who are supposed to deliver the president and his cabinet team and the civil service. Ours, from the political circle, is to really...
But you're a legislator.
I legislate things. When you legislate, I legislate in the National Assembly.
Okay,
but that is only one role. My other role is representation and oversight. So when you are representing, you play politics. When you are oversighting, you play politics. The only licensed politician is an elected leader, not an appointed one through an interview. But I want to say this...
you had 30 seconds there.
This is something that I want to say, that the president has gotten too much things on his in-tray without really putting the basics all together. And I'm worried the realization of the Big Four agenda is going to be hampered by one-party politics, by second referendum campaigns. And to me, it's a scenario where a father goes ahead to sell land without really involving the children and the wife. And at the end of the day, the children come and say, no, we are not going to allow this land to be sold. And happening with the realization of the Big Four agenda, the housing, we've seen people go to court to stop it. And I think going forward, we need consultations. You need to consult.
Right.
And the president should focus on the delivery of the Big Four agenda and leave the running of parties into party organs, team, and National Delegate Conference, NDC, to steer this party forward. He should restrict himself into the affairs of government.
All right. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa Didmas Baraza from Kimilili, Mheshimiwa Beatrice Zalachi, as well as Professor Hezron Mugambi for coming through to the first show of the year on Daybreak. It's been a pleasure to have you here.